Joining us now is the Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Darren Jones. Darren, I'm not sure how much you were able to hear of what Olivia was saying there, but where would your money be on what the response is going to be from the UK to this? Will it be a bit of a fudge, or do you think we will come out with quite a hard line in response to China and this, frankly, repeated behaviour that they've been demonstrating?
Good morning. Forgive me my glasses. The sun is steaming my lenses up. To answer your question, I think first we need to hear the answer from the Defence Secretary in the House of Commons today about what has actually happened and what the evidence is for that. Clearly, we need to have answers for the Ministry of Defence personnel who have been affected by this hack to reassure them of their privacy and security. And then we need to understand why we had IT systems in the place that could be hacked, especially in of all departments, the Ministry of Defence. The broader question around foreign policy is, of course, relevant. There are a number of countries around the world who we know actively try to hack UK systems as well as the systems of our allies, and we should be in a position to prevent that from happening. And then in those diplomatic conversations, making the case that that's clearly not an appropriate way to behave.
But is it? I mean, it's interesting that there is obviously going to be a movement off the back of this from those who are more hawkish to say, yes, China is a threat to UK security. It needs to be dealt with more firmly. Is that a line the Labour government would pursue if you get into office at some point this year? Or you know, do we need to have a stronger diplomacy, if we can sort of phrase it like that, stronger worded diplomacy?
So the approach that we take from being in opposition right now is that we need to compete where we need to compete, collaborate on issues, for example, on climate change, where we have a shared interest across humanity, and on advanced artificial intelligence and those types of issues, but also to challenge our Chinese counterparts when we are clear that they've not been following the rules-based order that we would expect from countries around the world. But of course, as the Labour Party in opposition right now, we don't have access to the intelligence information that the government does, and that's why we'll listen to the statement from the Defence Secretary closely in the House of Commons later today. And if we win the general election, of course, we'll take a view in the round once we have access to that up-to-date secret information.
Speaking of elections then, lots of people trying to analyse what's happened over the last few days. Heavy losses for the Conservatives, but lots of people commentating that Labour really didn't make the inroads that perhaps they should have done. Today, your Shadow Chancellor, your boss in the Treasury, is going to be making a speech saying that the Tories are gaslighting the British public, but the Conservatives won't be having that. They're this week going to try and tell us we're coming out of a recession, or expected to be. Inflation's come down, cost of living is easing. Why are they gaslighting us?
Well, the 2 points of your question are connected, because our argument today is that until people at home feel like they are better off than they were at the start of these 14 years of chaos from the Conservatives, the economy in real terms has not been improving for them. Whilst we welcome the statistical improvements, we expect to come out of recession, we expect inflation to come down, that's a pretty low bar. That would be the starting position normally in this country, not a point of success and celebration. And so Rachel Reeves, the Shadow Chancellor, will be saying today, until people at home feel better off in terms of their family finances and their experience of the economy, the country has not turned a corner. We need to end this chaos with the Conservatives and go towards a period of economic stability and growth under Labour at the next election.
The problem with that is that Labour would do exactly the same as the government's doing if you were in power at the moment. You know, if there is a 0.1% growth in the economy, you'd be saying, look, it's growing. It may be very slow, but it's growing. Rather than saying, well, we need to wait until people feel like it's growing.
If I might just say, we wouldn't be taking exactly the same approach as the Conservatives. One of the reasons that the economy tanked so quickly in the last few years was because Liz Truss and the Conservative Party announced a whole tranche of unfunded tax cuts, which sent the markets spiralling. They're doing it again now by pledging a £46 billion unfunded cut to abolish national insurance. You just won't have that from the Labour Party. All of our policies are fully funded and fully costed. We'll bring stability back to the UK economy and UK politics. And off the bedrock of that stability, we'll be able to reform the policies that we can as a government on planning, on skills and other areas in order to unlock the private sector investment that this country has not had the pleasure of experiencing over the past few years because of chaos under the Conservatives. That's the way you grow the economy in a sustainable way.
OK, well, time will tell on that. Darren Jones, Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury, thanks very much for battling the sunlight for us this morning. It looks very promising out there. Thank you.